Okay, for this section, it wants you to factor, which is basically factor out the greatest common factor for this part, and then we'll get into actually factoring the whole thing. So instead of them giving it to you this time, like in the last section, they want you to figure out what it is. So we're going to factor out the greatest common factor. Like I said, on factoring problems, they're not considered fully factored if you still have a greatest common factor in them. So remember that on your homework. So for the first one, we have ax squared minus a. So what you want to do is look at these two things and figure out what they have in common. They both have a's, so you know you can factor out an a. This one has x squared, this one doesn't have any sort of x, so you can't do anything with that. So you have a, if you factor an a out of ax squared, then you have an x squared left. I'm going to quit writing down the division like I've been on the past two videos. I think we're probably okay with that. And then if you factor out an a out of a divided by a is minus 1. So then you have, if you check this, you'll have a times x squared is ax squared, and a times minus 1 is minus a. So you're done. For this next one, you've got 12x squared minus 8x minus 16. So again, you've got to figure out what's your greatest common factor among 12, 8, and 16. So what's the largest number that'll divide into all of those? So 12, 8, and 16, 4 goes into each of those. If you try 8, it won't work. 8 won't go into 12, so 4 will go into each of those. You have an x squared, an x, and then no x, so you can't factor out an x, so just 4 would be your greatest common factor. So if you do 12x squared and take out a 4, 12 divided by 4 is 3. The x squared just stays. If you do minus 8x, take out the 4, negative 8 divided by 4 is minus 2x. And then negative 16 divided by 4 is minus 4. And again, you can check it. If you multiply 4 back in, you'll get 12x squared minus 8x minus 16. For the next one, you have 2y squared plus 6y plus 4xy. So look at your coefficients and figure out what will divide into all of those. But you've got 2, 6, and 4. So a 2 will go into each of those. You have a y squared, a y, and a y. So they all have a y. And like I said, you always take the lowest exponent. So you can do a 2y. You have, this one has an x, these two don't, so you can't factor that out. So if you do 2y squared, take out 2y, so divide. 2 divided by 2 goes away. Y squared divided by y, you're left with 1y. 6y, if you take out 2y, 6 divided by 2 is 3. And the y's would cancel each other out. You've already got it out here, so just 3. And then 4 divided by 2 is 2. And the y's cancel and the x tags along. And again, you can check it. You would have 2y squared plus 6y plus 4xy if you multiply it back out. For the next one, if you want to take out a negative, you can, because you have negative 4x squared minus 12x minus 8. So I would take out the negative. You've got 4, 12, and 8, so 4 will go into all of those. You have x squared, x, and then no x, so you can't do anything with x. So negative 4 divided by negative 4 is positive 1. So remember, when you factor out a negative, all the signs are going to switch. So you've got x squared left. Negative 12 divided by negative 4 is positive 3x. And negative 8 divided by negative 4 is positive 2. Multiply it back in, you'd have negative 4x squared minus 12x minus 8. So always check these. This next one is here to show you, because when we do factoring by grouping, this is what it'll kind of look like. So just like before, even if you have 2x plus 7 in parentheses, you treat it just as if it was an x by itself. So they both have a 2x plus 7. So if you factor out a 2x plus 7, then it's gone here, so you'd be left with an a. And it would also be gone here, and you'd be left with a b. So It looks kind of funny to do that, but you do it the exact same way. If it was just an x a plus x b, it would be x times a plus b. So same exact thing. If you distribute this back, you have 2x plus 7 times a and 2x plus 7 times b. And then for your last one here, this one's super long. So look at your coefficients here. You have an 8, a 24, a 48, a negative 20, an 80, a 4, a negative 4, and a 4. So the number that will go into all of those is 4. And then you have A's and B's. So again, you always take the lowest exponent. So you've got a cubed, a squared, a cubed, a cubed, a to the fourth, a cubed, and a squared. So your lowest exponent on a is a squared. For b, you've got b to the 15th, b to the 14th, b to the 6th, b to the 7th, b to the 6th, b to the 7th, and b. So the lowest exponent on b is b. So once you do that, then you just carefully go through and divide all this. So 8a cubed, b to the 15th, if you take this out, so divide. 8 divided by 4 is 2. A to the third divided by a squared, 3 minus 2 is 1. B to the 15th divided by b is b to the 14th. And just do it one piece at a time. 24, for the next term, you've got 24 divided by 4 would give you 6. The a squared is gone because you've got a squared divided by a squared, so that just cancels. And b to the 14th, take out a b, you've got b to the 13th left. Then for the next term, you've got 48 a cubed b to the 6th. If you divide by 4 a squared b, 48 divided by 4 is 12. A to the third divided by a squared, you're going to have 1a left. B to the 6th, take out a b. 6 minus 1 is 5, so b to the 5th is what you have left. Keep going. Minus 20 a cubed b to the 7th. Minus 20 divided by 4 is minus 5. A to the third divided by a squared is a. B to the 7th divided by b is b to the 6th. And I'm going to write down on the next line, you've got 80, a to the 4th, b to the 6th. So if you keep going, 80 divided by 4 is 20. A to the 4th, we've taken out a squared. We have an a squared left. B to the 6th, taken out a b. You've got b to the 5th left. Then you've got negative 4a cubed b to the 7th. So negative 4 divided by 4 is just a minus 1. A to the third, you've taken out the a squared, so you've got an a left. B to the 7th, you've taken out b, so you've got b to the 6th left. And finally, for the last one, 4 is taken out. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so that goes away. A squared divided by a squared, that goes away. It's a 1. And b divided by b is also a 1. Don't forget to write down the 1, though. So on this one, most people would make the mistake of just leaving this off. That's not correct. If you take out a whole term, then you have to do the plus 1, because when you distribute it back, so if you distribute this all back in and check it, multiply each thing, you're going to have 8a cubed b to the 15th, and it all works. I'm not going to say it all. But then when you get to the last one, if you don't write this down, you won't actually have that term. So if you forgot that, you would stop with this term, but you have to make sure you do the plus 1 so that when you multiply it back in, you end up with what you started with.